I'm sure we all know what Texas barbecue is, but you know what makes Houston barbecue a little bit different? Well, we'll learn about that today, as well as spend some time with a little fish and a whole lot of butter that'll teach us about how big things come together a little bit at a time. So why don't you hop in and travel with me? My name is JB Salceda, and this is Texas Country Reporter. In a strip mall in Houston, nestled between a nail salon and an Italian eatery, you'll find some of the most innovative barbecue in Texas, which, as you know, is the best barbecue in the world. Now, if you're surprised you can find food this good in Houston Strip Mall, well, you might not be from Houston. In the exciting, diverse food scene of H-Town, some of the best spots are tucked away in the most ordinary of places. But there's nothing ordinary about the food at Blood Brothers Barbecue, where a pair of brothers and a lifelong friend have brought their unique twists to one of Texas's favorite types of foods. So tell me, you guys are lifelong friends, right? Y'all grew up together? So what's the relationship between all three of y'all?
We're brothers.
Okay.
And he's our blood brother.
Yeah, I mean, we've known each other probably since middle school, like towards the tail end of middle school, so.
Qui and the Wong brothers were friends from childhood, but for a while, they weren't seeing as much of each other. That all changed when Qui offered to smoke some meats for a party the Wong brothers were throwing at a bar they owned together.
I was like, hey, let me come cook some food. They invited me out, I was like, let me come cook, you know? And they're like, no, we just want you to hang out and have fun. And I was just like, no, that's me having fun and just cooking for my friends and just, hanging out. And then from there, we started a steak night, and then it progressed into Blood Brothers.
After a few years doing pop-ups, the reputation of the Blood Brothers spread all across Houston. They mastered the Texas Trinity, but it was their innovative idea to incorporate Houston's vast culinary spectrum into their barbecue offerings that really set them apart.
My point of view is just like we're using flavors that we grew up eating, that we love, and just incorporating it into, traditional Texas cuts of meats that you would find in barbecue. And, we're using traditional cooking methods pretty much, but it's just flavors that we grew up eating.
The Blood Brothers menu is full of specialties you'll never find in another Texas barbecue joint. Brisket chow fun, go-cha-chang ribs, and brisket fried rice are all fan favorites. But it did take a little convincing to get some of their customers interested in the new flavors.
And also, customers would come in and like, what is that? Because we're doing like some stuff that they're not familiar with, and they're, oh no, I'll just take a sliced brisket sandwich, Then they'll have that because we have a lot of regulars from the neighborhood. They'll have that twice a week for about a month. I want something different. I see a lot of people ordering that weird thing. Let me have that. And then they're like, oh, so now. It took us a little while to build that trust with these people that hadn't had those kind of flavors or weren't familiar with the food that we were putting out. And now they're like, they don't want the normal stuff. What do you got new that you're working on, And that's been really cool too. Yeah. It's just taking that person that was like, maybe not so adventurous, and now that's all they want.
After the guys showed me around the Blood Brothers pit room, we came back to the table with a spread of all their favorite dishes. Man, I've got like the full array. I mean, it's actually pretty wild seeing all this together. I'm excited. All right, I'm gonna go with some of the brisket fried rice. This looks delicious. I love it. This is awesome. You said this is one of your more popular dishes, right?
When we used to do the steak night, one of the sides I did was brisket fried rice. And then I think one day we were just like, hey, let's run this as a side, like a special one day. And it sold out so fast. And then after that weekend, we were like, we have to do this as a daily side. Like, there's no way we can just run it one day a week. It's just so different and so popular.
And tell me a little bit more about the ribs.
So that's a gochujang glazed. You know, we just took, that was one of the first sauces that we did outside the box. You know, we did it on some beef belly burn ends. So over time, we wanted to offer another offering of ribs, something different. So, you know, that has the best of both worlds. Sweet, little spicy.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect glaze for ribs.
Well, it's got that like kind of sticky too. I mean, it's great. It's interesting because it's definitely unique, but it's not like I'm trying something that's from another planet either, you know? But yeah, there's that nice kick to it. I really like it. That's great.
Well, that's kind of what we try to do too. We're not, like kind of mentioned before, we're not trying to reinvent anything. We're just trying to put our spin on it. So everything should be fairly familiar, just not in barbecue. So it's not what you would expect with traditional barbecue, but the flavors should be fairly familiar.
That's just one fish. Think about what one fish can do, and then do it times 1 billion. It spawns conservation. Is even just a setting like this, people learning about this, they learn that the coast matters. And it's amazingly complex, but it comes down to how people handle it. And we're blessed in Texas that people in general handle it pretty darn well.
On the sun-drenched shore of Christmas Bay, the thick, humid air crackles with an electric excitement as anglers gather in anticipation for the day's festivities. In the shallows, a young boy gently cradles a tiny, glistening token of their collective achievement, the 1 billionth redfish fingerling to be released into the Gulf, a symbol of the decades-long effort to revitalize Texas's coastlines.
You know, a lot of this stems back to what's sort of known as the Redfish Wars. In 1977, 14 anglers got together, recreational anglers, and said we've had enough. And the late Bob Kemp and many other great leaders at that time saw the need to work together to try to make a difference. And what happened legislatively and administratively to better manage that resource and get gill nets out of Texas bays was also paired with the idea of creating these hatcheries that could help replenish the bays. It did truly start in Texas, and there's a maverick piece to that. But boy, you see it as vividly and as emphatically in other states as well.
As the president of the Coastal Conservation Association, Pat Murray has long dreamed of witnessing this historic milestone. His deep-rooted passion for the land and sea, which began in his youth, led him down the path that put him on shore today to see Billy, the 1 billionth fingerling, be released.
You know, so I was a fishing guide in Galveston Bay, and that's really, I mean, I found my love for fishing with my dad when I was a little boy. I mean, like the first time I saw my dad catch a flounder, I thought he'd caught a Martian. I was like, he caught a Martian, look at that thing. And I just wanted to know more. But that's what got me into fish guiding, because I was all in on that. It was like, this is what I want to do. And then you don't have to guide long to learn, number one, how important the resource is, but also how delicate it is. And I said, you know, that's something I really want to be a part of, and was blessed to get hired in in 1997 and have stayed there ever since.
Before Pat became president, decades of dedication, hard work, science, and sacrifice shaped the development of the hatcheries and revitalization efforts of the CCA and TPWD.
3, 2, 1.
Open it!
But much like nature, conservation is an unending cycle, one that Pat is optimistic will continue indefinitely, fueled by a new generation of anglers and conservationists that will hopefully be inspired by fish like Billy.
What's your relation to this guy?
Oh, this is my grandson, Noah Trevino.
Yeah. And why does it matter to be doing this work for him?
Well, he represents the future.
I just like the idea that we would have a billionth fish is incredible.
It's incredible.
It's just incredible. And in an era where billion and trillion and all these big numbers are thrown around, like I said, what I really like doing is thinking about a billion fish and then home in on one and think about the difference one fish could make. Because that fish can grow up and spawn, that fish can go, get caught and turn someone on to conservation. It can do a lot. And there's a billion of them that have been put in these bays, and there's gonna be a billion more. That's probably even more exciting.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Amongst a sea of sketches and a decade of dust, Byers resident Tom Roberts hums along to the rhythm of his work. For nearly 35 years, the draftsman's hands have meticulously mapped out homes and buildings, translating architectural visions into precise pencil strokes.
Been drafting since '89, and so that's otherwise I'd be a plumber. My whole family are plumbers, and that's too much like work to me.
But over the last 15, the familiar etch of his lead-stained fingerprints began to also bear the remnants of dried clay, all thanks to an old block of wax and an even older friend.
A friend of my dad's, he's a sculpting instructor at North Texas University there in Denton. Well, he sent my dad this block of wax, a big old block of wax. Well, I didn't know how to work with that. I didn't know how to do that. And so it sat for a long time. And then my wife and I, we was at a Christmas party, and Jim Miller, he was there that night. I was telling him about it. He says, "You come over to my house, I'll show you." And so this is basically what he showed me.
Tom's artistic expression diverges from the traditional norms often taught in textbooks.
What I do is real crude. Nothing, if you go to school for this, nothing, they'll tell you stay away from the way he's doing.
But his unconventional approach to sculpting has garnered him a devoted following of fans, including the State Fair of Texas. With each commission Tom receives, he transforms fleeting moments in time into enduring works of art. And all he needs to immortalize these memories is a little bit of bronze and a whole lot of tenacity.
So what landed me the State Fair is that little tenacity.
In 2017, Tom Roberts made his debut at the State Fair with this little dung beetle, but only garnered an honorable mention award. Much like his tenacious piece of work, though, Tom persisted. Each year, his work and determination captured the hearts of the art department. It was this steadfast persistence that prompted the group to challenge Tom, asking him to mold with material you'd be hard-pressed to find on any other artist's workbench.
Butter, it's so much similar, because butter, it heats up, it gets soft. Everybody knows that. You freeze it, it gets harder as everything. Well, this is soft butter, because you can mash that, move it, and you can leave your fingerprints in there. And then over here, this is the cold frozen butter. Okay, you can only do so much. You have to actually carve that.
And then how did she go about asking you to do the butter sculpture?
I don't know if she even asked me. I think she told me. She was telling me I'm gonna do it. We're not doing the big sculpture no more. We're doing the mini butter sculpture. You can only use 1 pound of butter, and in anything you want to do. And 1 pound, I had never done anything because I remember telling her I had never done anything in butter. And she said something like, well, there's a first time for everything or something. 2 years of the mini butter sculpture, I went to her and I said, I know what I'm gonna do for the mini butter sculpture. She said, we're not doing the mini no more. We're gonna bring back the big one because a lot of people are asking about it. And would you wanna do it? I said, well, yeah, I'll do that.
For the last few years, Tom's been responsible for sculpting the big and beloved butter statue seen at every state fair of Texas. His first attempt was a tribute to Big Tex's name, a salted statement that no other place is as big a deal as Texas. Each year since, Tom has trudged into the cold, withstanding hours of freezing, frigid air in hopes of sculpting not just a statue, but a story.
Last year, I did, the theme was a carousel. Everything's good on the midway, something like that. So I pictured Big Tex on a carousel bench, and with all these horses around. Well, this right here, that's me and my older brother. That's me and my older brother. I think I was 6 months old, and they already had me on a horse. And so that was okay, but I tried to duplicate this on a carousel horse in butter, and that's hard to do.
With most of his homely homages to Texas, Tom takes time to honor his own history, continually taking inspiration from the ones that have supported his art throughout the years. But none have had more of an impact on Tom's art than the woman who cradled his creativity early. And in each salted or soldered sculpture, Tom ensures he encapsulates the memory of his first muse, his mother.
It was Dad that taught me how to work with my hands, and I can kick him for that. But he kicks back, and he still kicks hard. But it was Mom that taught me how to look at things and think about things. Yeah, my mom, before she passed, I did the mini butter sculptures. And Mom told me, she said, you're gonna be doing that big one before long. And she saw that I won first place in my mini butter sculpture. She saw that, but she didn't make it to the big one.
How does that make you feel?
Oh, it kind of gives, tears me up, yeah. And it's kind of ironic because Mom, she loved butter. She loved butter, and so it's kind of ironic how that happens.
Do you think about your mother when you're sculpting?
I do, and my aunt, she was telling me, she was trying to calm me down for some, I forget what we were talking about, and I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Aunt Robbie, she told me, she tried to calm me down. She says, you think you wrecked your mom. Well, my eyelids go to freezing up. I can't do that. I go to freezing up. And so, yeah, y'all touched the soft subject. Yeah, I think about her quite a bit.
Despite his freezing fingers, Tom Roberts' heart remains warmed by the knowledge his mom is watching over him, proud of his artistic accomplishments. And with this feeling of support lingering in the cold, dry air, he's able to persist with an unwavering determination. Each week of the state fair, thousands of Texans will march through these halls and gaze up in awe at the life-size salted and slick statue his very hands form. And in that moment, he'll know it was all worth it, as he silently sends his thanks to the woman who continues to inspire him, even on the other side of life.
Really, she's behind all this art. So yes, I do think about Mom quite a bit, more so than what I give her credit for. And she's out here with me today. She's out here with me all the time. It's a blessing.
I grew up on the Gulf Coast and am a firm believer in the statement that high tides raise all the ships. A mindset that's so important to take to heart these days. And just like Billy the Redfish taught us, little contributions that we make to improving our community add up to amazingly big results. So I look forward to next week when I hope you'll hop in and travel with me as we continue on this journey down the back roads of Texas. My name is JB Salceda, and this is Texas Country Reporter.